Peter Thiel begins 0 to 1 by emphasizing a critical distinction that many overlook: the difference between incremental progress and true innovation. Incremental progress, or what Thiel calls horizontal progress, is the process of replicating or improving upon existing ideas, essentially copying something that already works and refining it. This is how globalization works. We take successful ideas, products, or services and spread them across the globe. It's important, but it's not transformative. It's the act of going from 1 to n, repeating what has been done, adding more of the same. But true innovation, or vertical progress, is entirely different. It's about creating something new, about doing what has never been done before. Thiel describes this as going from 0 to 1, bringing into existence something unique that fundamentally alters the course of industries, markets, or even society. This is the essence of startup culture, and it's the heartbeat of Thiel's philosophy. The future belongs to those who innovate, not those who merely copy. Thiel argues that if we want to shape the future, we have to think outside the established boundaries of competition and incrementalism. Instead of competing with existing businesses, we should focus on creating entirely new markets, where competition becomes irrelevant. This is the path to building companies that create transformative value and achieve true monopolies in their fields. The premise of 0 to 1 is not a manual on how to start a company in a competitive space. It's a manifesto for bold thinking. Thiel challenges entrepreneurs, thinkers, and investors to aim higher than they ever thought possible, to look for opportunities where none seem to exist, and to create the future rather than merely react to it. The secret to success lies not in imitation but in originality. Chapter 1: The Challenge of the Future. Thiel opens the first chapter by asking a simple yet profound question. What will the future look like? He argues that while we talk a lot about the future, few people actively plan for it. Many businesses and individuals coast along on current trends, assuming the future will simply be a more advanced version of the present. This type of thinking leads to horizontal progress, the duplication and refinement of existing ideas. For example, globalization is horizontal progress because it spreads successful business models, technologies, and ideas from one place to another, but it doesn't fundamentally change the landscape. The real challenge, Thiel argues, is to achieve vertical progress, which requires creating new ideas, products, and solutions that have never existed before. Vertical progress is transformative. It takes us from 0 to 1. Thiel asserts that we should aim for this type of progress because it's the only way to create the future. To make vertical progress, entrepreneurs must think differently. They must not only anticipate the future, but actively shape it through bold innovation. Thiel points out that most people operate under the assumption that the future will be shaped by external forces, like luck, technological trends, or economic circumstances. But the most successful people in companies realize that they have the power to create the future themselves. He also emphasizes the importance of contrarian thinking. Many of the most successful innovations come from people who challenge widely held beliefs. For instance, Thiel reflects on how PayPal, which he co-founded, was built on a belief that the financial system was inefficient and outdated. Instead of trying to compete within the existing system, PayPal sought to disrupt it entirely, offering a radically new way to transfer money online. This type of innovation requires more than just following trends. It requires a vision of the future that is different from everyone else's. Thiel concludes the chapter by stating that true innovation doesn't come from incremental improvements. It comes from making the bold leap from 0 to 1. Chapter 2: Party Like It's 1999. In this chapter, Thiel takes readers back to the dot-com boom of the late 1990s, a time of immense excitement and speculation about the internet's potential to transform the world. He recounts how, during this period, many people were swept up in the belief that the internet would change everything. Startups popped up overnight, with investors eager to throw money at anything remotely related to the web. Everyone believed that the future was arriving faster than ever before, and that success was just around the corner for those who embraced the internet. But as Thiel points out, while the internet did indeed change the world, it didn't happen in the way most people expected. By the year 2000, the dot-com bubble burst, wiping out billions of dollars in investments and causing many tech companies to fail. Thiel reflects on the lessons from this era, particularly the dangers of irrational exuberance, the tendency for people to get caught up in hype without considering the fundamentals of business. One of the key lessons Thiel draws from the dot-com era is the importance of understanding the difference between hype and reality. During the bubble, many companies focused on growth for growth's sake. They believed that as long as they attracted users and generated buzz, profits would eventually follow. However, many of these companies lacked a sustainable business model and failed to focus on what really matters, delivering value to customers in a way that generates lasting profits. Thiel emphasizes that technology alone is not enough to build a successful company. While innovation is essential, it must be coupled with strong business fundamentals, a clear understanding of how to create value, build a sustainable competitive advantage, and generate profits over the long term. This chapter is a warning against chasing trends without a clear strategy for profitability and long-term success. Chapter 3. All happy companies are different. One of Thiel's most controversial ideas is that monopolies are good. He begins this chapter by referencing Leo Tolstoy's line from Anna Karenina. All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Thiel adapts this to the business world, stating that all happy companies are different because each one has figured out a unique way to dominate its market. On the other hand, unhappy companies are those stuck in fierce competition with little differentiation and shrinking profits. In this chapter, Thiel argues that the most successful companies don't compete. They dominate their markets by offering something so unique and valuable that no one else can replicate it. In other words, the best companies are monopolies, businesses that have figured out a way to avoid competition entirely by creating their own space in the market. He contrasts this with what he calls perfect competition, where many businesses compete for the same customers, driving down prices and profits for everyone involved. In a competitive market, companies are always looking over their shoulders, focusing on beating the competition rather than making real progress. This constant struggle for survival limits the potential for innovation and long-term success. Thiel provides examples of monopolistic companies, such as Google, which dominates the search engine market by offering a product that no other company can match. Google didn't just enter the market and compete with other search engines. It created a superior product that allowed it to control the market. Similarly, Apple has achieved monopolistic dominance in the smartphone industry by creating a product ecosystem that locks customers into its brand. Thiel argues that these companies are successful not because they're better at competing, but because they've found ways to avoid competition altogether. Thiel's advice to entrepreneurs is clear. Don't aim for a piece of the market, aim to dominate it. The best way to do this is by offering something so valuable and unique that no one else can replicate it. This is how companies move from 0 to 1, by creating something new and building a monopoly around it. Chapter 4. The Ideology of Competition. In this chapter, Thiel takes on the popular notion that competition is good for businesses and society. While competition is often celebrated as the driving force behind innovation and progress, Thiel argues that competition can be destructive, particularly for startups and businesses trying to establish themselves. Thiel points out that competition forces businesses to focus on outdoing their rivals rather than on creating innovative products or solutions. When companies are too focused on beating the competition, they lose sight of what really matters, making progress and creating lasting value. He suggests that the healthiest, most successful companies are those that avoid competition by finding new, uncontested markets where they can thrive. Thiel uses the example of Microsoft and Google to illustrate the dangers of competition. For years, Microsoft dominated the tech industry, but when it began to focus on competing with Google in the search engine space, it lost its innovative edge. Instead of continuing to build on its strengths, Microsoft got caught up in a battle for dominance that ultimately distracted it from pursuing more transformative opportunities. Thiel also discusses the psychological toll of competition. He argues that the relentless drive to outperform rivals can lead to burnout, stress, and a lack of creativity. People and companies become so focused on what others are doing that they stop thinking independently and taking risks. This mindset stifles innovation and ultimately hurts the company's ability to create something new and valuable. To avoid the trap of competition, Thiel encourages entrepreneurs to think differently and look for opportunities where there is little to no competition. The goal is to create monopolistic dominance by building something so innovative and valuable that competitors are irrelevant. Thiel's message is clear. Competition is for losers. The real winners are those who find ways to create monopolies and avoid competition altogether. Chapter 5. Last Mover Advantage. In contrast to the common idea of first mover advantage, Thiel introduces the concept of last mover advantage. The traditional thinking is that the first company to enter a market has a significant edge because it can establish itself as the market leader, capture customers, and create barriers to entry for competitors. However, Thiel argues that being first doesn't always guarantee success. Thiel points out that many of the most successful companies today were not the first in their industries. For example, Google was not the first search engine, and Facebook was not the first social network. Yet both companies achieved lasting dominance by perfecting their products and strategies long after the initial wave of competitors had come and gone. Thiel believes that the most successful companies are those that enter a market at the right time, after the dust has settled and the major challenges have been identified. These companies can learn from the mistakes of the early movers and make the necessary adjustments to become the last movers, the companies that ultimately dominate the market over the long term. He cites examples like Amazon, which wasn't the first e-commerce platform but became the dominant player by continually innovating, expanding its product offerings, and refining its business model. Similarly, Apple wasn't the first company to create a smartphone, but it revolutionized the market with the iPhone and continues to lead the industry with its innovative designs and ecosystem. Thiel's concept of last mover advantage is about playing the long game. While being first can offer some initial advantages, the companies that succeed in the long run are those that perfect their products, adapt to changes in the market, and build lasting value. Thiel advises entrepreneurs to focus not on being the first, but on being the best, to aim for monopolistic dominance by becoming the company that endures over time. In conclusion, Thiel's approach to innovation and business challenges conventional wisdom. He urges entrepreneurs to think differently, aim for monopoly, avoid competition, and focus on building companies that will last. Whether you're starting a new company or thinking about the future of your industry, Thiel's insights provide a roadmap for creating transformative value and going from 0 to 1. Chapter 6. You are not a lottery ticket. Peter Thiel opens Chapter 6 with a clear message. Success is not the result of random luck, but of deliberate action and thoughtful planning. The pervasive belief that success is akin to winning a lottery, where some individuals or companies get lucky and rise to the top, weakens entrepreneurial ambition and stifles innovation. Thiel argues that this mindset is not only dangerous but also deeply misguided. If we believe that life and business are just a matter of luck, we become passive, waiting for opportunities to fall into our laps, rather than creating and seizing them ourselves. Thiel points out that this attitude of randomness and luck is prevalent in both personal and professional contexts. Many people adopt a worldview where success seems like a cosmic roll of the dice, and they assume that their chances of making it big are as slim as winning a lottery. This perspective fosters a sense of helplessness, as people feel that they have little control over their own fate. However, Thiel passionately rejects this notion. Successful entrepreneurs, he argues, do not sit back and hope for good fortune. They are proactive and strategic, seeking out opportunities, taking calculated risks, and putting in the hard work necessary to shape their future. Thiel emphasizes that successful people believe they can control the trajectory of their lives. They have faith in their ability to influence outcomes through their decisions, actions, and persistence. In short, success is a product of agency, not chance. Thiel draws a distinction between definite and indefinite thinking. Indefinite thinking, he explains, is the mindset that the future is unknowable and therefore not worth planning for. People with this mindset tend to rely on luck, believing that success comes by accident. They may diversify their efforts, hedge their bets, and avoid committing to one specific vision, all in the hope that something will eventually pay off. Definite thinkers, on the other hand, believe in planning for the future. They understand that while uncertainty exists, it is possible to make informed decisions and shape the future. These individuals create detailed plans, set clear goals, and pursue them with focus and determination. Definite thinking leads to innovation. By having a clear vision of what they want to achieve, entrepreneurs can take deliberate steps to turn that vision into reality. Thiel urges his readers to adopt a definite mindset and reject the notion that life is simply a game of chance. He encourages entrepreneurs to create their own luck by putting themselves in the best possible position to succeed, rather than waiting for a stroke of fortune. This involves making thoughtful decisions, developing unique products or services, and building companies that can withstand the uncertainties of the market. Moreover, Thiel stresses the importance of long-term thinking. People who believe they are just playing the lottery tend to think in the short term, focusing on immediate gains or quick wins. By contrast, successful entrepreneurs understand that building something meaningful and lasting requires patience, perseverance, and a focus on the long game. They don't shy away from hard work, nor do they expect overnight success. Instead, they are willing to put in the effort required to build companies that will stand the test of time. In this chapter, Thiel's key message is that you are not a lottery ticket. Success is not a matter of luck, but of intention, planning, and persistence. By adopting a mindset of definite thinking and taking control of your own future, you can achieve extraordinary things. The best entrepreneurs don't wait for the right opportunity to come along. They create it. Chapter 7. Follow the money. In Chapter 7, Thiel dives deep into the world of venture capital and explains why understanding how money works in startups is crucial for entrepreneurs. This chapter centers on a fundamental principle of venture capital investment known as the power law, which states that in any portfolio of investments, the vast majority of returns will come from a small number of companies. Most startups will either fail or deliver modest returns, while one or two will generate extraordinary returns that make up for all the others. Thiel begins by pointing out that not all money is equal. The way money flows into and out of startups can vary dramatically, and entrepreneurs need to have a keen awareness of these dynamics if they are to build successful, scalable companies. In particular, Thiel emphasizes that successful venture capitalists and entrepreneurs understand the power law and its implications. They know that the key to massive success lies in identifying and backing the few ventures that have the potential to become industry leaders, companies that can dominate entire markets and generate outsized returns. Thiel explains that the power law operates not just in venture capital, but in many aspects of life and business. For example, a small percentage of products typically account for the majority of a company's revenue, and a handful of key decisions often determine the success or failure of a company. The power law also highlights the importance of thinking big. Entrepreneurs who are content with modest success or incremental improvements are unlikely to achieve the kind of transformative impact that venture capitalists are looking for. Instead, Thiel urges entrepreneurs to aim high, seeking opportunities that have the potential to grow exponentially and disrupt entire industries. For venture capitalists, this means that they should not be content with diversifying their investments across many companies in the hope that a few will succeed. Instead, they should focus on finding the one or two companies that have the potential to become game changers. This is where Thiel's advice for entrepreneurs becomes critical. If you want to attract venture capital, you need to position yourself as the one company in 100 that has the potential to achieve explosive growth and dominate its market. Thiel also points out that successful entrepreneurs and investors think in terms of scalable opportunities. This means focusing on businesses that can grow quickly and efficiently, reaching large markets with relatively low additional costs. Scalability is what allows a company to leverage its initial success and achieve exponential growth. This is why tech startups, with their low marginal costs and potential for global reach, have been such a focus for venture capitalists in recent decades. Chapter 8: Secrets. In Chapter 8, Thiel delves into the idea that the world is still full of secrets, hidden opportunities, and untapped potential that most people overlook. He argues that one of the key traits of successful entrepreneurs is their ability to discover and pursue these secrets, turning them into revolutionary products, services, or companies. Thiel begins by explaining that, contrary to popular belief, not everything worth knowing has already been discovered. While it might seem like the world is fully mapped out and understood, Thiel asserts that there are still countless secrets waiting to be uncovered. Whether in science, technology, business, or other fields. The problem, he argues, is that many people have stopped looking for these secrets. They assume that all the big discoveries have already been made, or they are content with improving upon existing ideas rather than seeking something truly new. The most successful entrepreneurs, however, are those who believe in secrets. They believe that there are still major breakthroughs to be made, and that they are capable of making those discoveries. Thiel describes these individuals as contrarians, people who think differently from the mainstream and who are willing to question widely held assumptions in search of new opportunities. Thiel distinguishes between conventional truths, which everyone accepts, and secrets, which remain undiscovered or misunderstood. The conventional wisdom, he explains, is often wrong or incomplete. This is where opportunities lie. By questioning conventional truths and seeking out the hidden secrets of the world, entrepreneurs can create something truly groundbreaking. To illustrate this point, Thiel gives examples of companies that uncovered secrets and used them to build transformative businesses. For instance, PayPal identified the secret that the financial system was outdated and inefficient, and they created a new way to transfer money online. Similarly, Facebook discovered the secret that people craved real, meaningful connections online, and they built a platform that tapped into that desire in a way no one else had. Thiel encourages entrepreneurs to think deeply and look for the secrets that others have missed. He stresses that these secrets are often not obvious. They require persistence, curiosity, and a willingness to think differently. Entrepreneurs who can find and exploit these secrets are the ones who create the next big thing. At the heart of this chapter is Thiel's belief that the world is not a closed book. There is still much to be discovered, and the most successful entrepreneurs are those who refuse to accept the status quo and instead seek out the secrets that can change the world. Chapter 9: Foundations. In Chapter 9, Thiel underscores the importance of getting the basics right from the very beginning. He compares building a company to constructing a house. If the foundation is weak, the entire structure will eventually collapse. For startups, the foundation consists of the people, the culture, and the values that define the company from its inception. Thiel begins by discussing the importance of hiring the right people. He emphasizes that startups should not simply look for people with the right technical skills or experience. Instead, they should seek out individuals who are deeply aligned with the company's mission and who are fully committed to its long-term success. Startups are intense environments, and Thiel argues that it's critical to have a team that is passionate, dedicated, and willing to go the extra mile. Beyond hiring, Thiel stresses the importance of creating a strong company culture. The culture of a startup is the set of shared values, beliefs, and practices that guide the behavior of everyone in the organization. A strong culture can unite a team, keep everyone focused on the same goals, and help the company weather challenges. On the other hand, a weak or dysfunctional culture can lead to misalignment, conflict, and ultimately failure. Thiel encourages founders to define their company's culture early on and to be intentional about shaping it as the company grows. This involves setting clear expectations for behavior, communication, and decision-making, as well as modeling those values at the leadership level. Another key aspect of a startup's foundation is its organizational structure. Thiel advises against creating overly hierarchical or bureaucratic structures which can slow down decision-making and stifle innovation. Instead, he advocates for flat structures that empower employees to take initiative and make decisions. In a startup, speed and flexibility are crucial, and having a structure that allows for quick, decisive action is a major advantage. Thiel also discusses the importance of ownership and equity in startups. He advises founders to be thoughtful about how they distribute equity to early employees and investors. The right ownership structure can incentivize long-term commitment and alignment with the company's goals, while a poorly designed structure can lead to conflict and misalignment down the road. In summary, foundations matter. Whether it's hiring the right people, building a strong culture, or creating a flexible organizational structure, the decisions made in the early days of a startup will have a profound impact on its future success. Thiel's advice to entrepreneurs is to focus on the fundamentals and ensure that their company's foundation is built to last. Chapter 10: The Mechanics of Mafia. In Chapter 10, Thiel explores the concept of building a tight-knit team, what he calls a mafia. He refers to the early team at PayPal as the PayPal Mafia because of their strong sense of loyalty, shared purpose, and close personal bonds. Thiel argues that the most successful startups often feel like close-knit families, where everyone is deeply committed to the company's mission and to each other. Thiel believes that building this kind of culture is essential for long-term success. Startups by their nature are high-stakes, high-pressure environments, and having a team that is united by a strong sense of purpose and loyalty can make all the difference. When employees feel like they are part of something special, they are more willing to put in the long hours, take risks, and persevere through the inevitable challenges of building a company. Thiel contrasts the mafia culture with the typical corporate culture, where employees often see their job as just a paycheck and are not deeply invested in the company's success. In a startup, Thiel argues, this kind of detachment can be fatal. Startups need teams where everyone is fully bought in and willing to go the extra mile to achieve the company's goals. To build a mafia culture, Thiel suggests that founders should hire people who are passionate about the mission and who share the company's values. He also emphasizes the importance of creating an environment where people feel a deep sense of ownership, both in terms of equity and in terms of responsibility for the company's success. When employees feel like they are part of something bigger than themselves, they are more likely to stay loyal and committed, even when things get tough. Thiel also discusses the importance of building strong personal relationships within the team. He believes that founders should foster a sense of camaraderie and trust, encouraging employees to build deep connections with one another. This kind of bond creates a supportive environment where team members can rely on each other and collaborate effectively. Ultimately, Thiel's message in this chapter is that the most successful startups are not just companies, they are movements. When employees are united by a shared mission and a deep sense of loyalty, they can accomplish extraordinary things. The mafia culture is about creating a team that feels special, where everyone is working toward a common goal and is fully committed to the company's success. Chapter 11: If you build it, will they come? In Chapter 11, Peter Thiel tackles a fundamental truth about business. Even the best product won't succeed if no one knows about it. While many entrepreneurs invest countless hours perfecting their product, they often overlook an equally critical aspect of success: sales and marketing. Thiel asserts that no matter how innovative or superior your product may be, it cannot gain traction or achieve market dominance without a robust strategy for distribution, sales, and marketing. Many founders fall into the trap of thinking that a great product sells itself, which Thiel categorically refutes. He explains that the "build it and they will come" mindset is flawed because it assumes that customers will naturally gravitate towards a good product without any concerted effort to market or sell it. This, according to Thiel, is a dangerous assumption that can doom even the most innovative companies to failure. Thiel argues that sales and distribution need to be integrated into the product development process right from the start. It's not enough to have a groundbreaking idea. Entrepreneurs must figure out how they will get that product into customers' hands in a cost-effective and scalable way. This means planning for distribution channels, understanding the customer acquisition process, and designing a product that is not only desirable but also accessible to its intended market. A key point Thiel makes is that sales efforts should not be seen as separate from product development. The best companies, he argues, weave sales into the very fabric of their operations, ensuring that product design, marketing, and distribution work in harmony. Thiel calls this an integrated approach, where every aspect of the company works towards the common goal of delivering the product to the customer. He highlights that many successful companies owe their triumphs not just to the quality of their products, but also to their innovative sales strategies. For instance, Apple didn't just create cutting-edge technology. They revolutionized the retail experience by opening Apple stores, which gave customers a hands-on experience with their products. Similarly, Tesla didn't rely on traditional dealerships. Instead, they sold directly to consumers through a unique online sales model. Thiel also emphasizes the importance of cost-effective customer acquisition. He explains that many startups fail because they spend far too much on marketing and sales without seeing a commensurate return on investment. To avoid this, entrepreneurs need to calculate their customer acquisition costs and ensure that the lifetime value of the customer exceeds the cost to acquire them. Thiel encourages companies to think creatively about how they can reduce these costs, whether through viral marketing, partnerships, or other innovative sales tactics. Chapter 12, Man and Machine. In Chapter 12, Thiel delves into one of the most significant debates of the modern era, the relationship between humans and machines. As technology advances, there is growing concern that machines, particularly artificial intelligence, AI, will replace human workers and render many jobs obsolete. However, Thiel presents a different perspective. Rather than seeing machines as competitors to human labor, he argues that the future lies in collaboration between humans and machines. Thiel begins by explaining that the best use of technology is to amplify human abilities, not to replace them. He believes that while machines excel at performing repetitive tasks with precision and efficiency, humans bring creativity, intuition, and emotional intelligence, qualities that machines cannot replicate. The real value comes when these two forces work together, complementing each other's strengths. Thiel uses examples from industries where man and machine work in harmony to create something greater than either could achieve alone. For instance, in medicine, AI can process vast amounts of data and identify patterns that would take a human doctor much longer to find. However, the human doctor is still needed to interpret that data, apply it to the patient's specific circumstances, and provide compassionate care. Similarly, in finance, algorithms can analyze market trends and execute trades at lightning speed, but human investors are needed to develop strategies and make nuanced decisions. The chapter also explores the limitations of automation. Thiel cautions against over-automation, where companies replace too many human jobs with machines. He argues that businesses should not see automation as a panacea for all their problems. Instead, they should focus on creating technology that enhances human performance. This approach not only leads to better outcomes, but also preserves jobs and allows for innovation in areas where human insight and creativity are irreplaceable. Thiel also touches on the ethical concerns surrounding AI and automation. He acknowledges that there is a real fear that technology will lead to widespread job displacement. But he believes that new types of jobs will emerge as technology evolves. The challenge, Thiel notes, is ensuring that society adapts to these changes by retraining workers and preparing the workforce for the future. He sees the collaboration between man and machine as an opportunity to create new industries and new forms of work that are more meaningful and fulfilling. Chapter 13. Seeing Green. In Chapter 13, Thiel addresses the challenges and opportunities of green technology, a sector that has garnered much attention due to concerns about climate change and environmental sustainability. While many companies have attempted to build businesses around clean energy, sustainable products, and environmental conservation, few have managed to succeed on a large scale. Thiel explores the reasons for this and offers guidance on how green tech can become a viable and profitable industry. Thiel begins by acknowledging the noble goals of green technology, reducing carbon emissions, conserving natural resources, and creating a more sustainable future. However, he points out that good intentions alone are not enough to build a successful business. Green tech companies must offer real economic value, not just environmental benefits, if they are to thrive in the marketplace. One of the primary challenges facing green tech, according to Thiel, is that many companies rely too heavily on government subsidies or regulatory support to stay afloat. While subsidies can provide a temporary boost, they are not a sustainable foundation for long-term success. Thiel argues that for green technologies to truly take off, they must be able to compete on their own merits, offering cost-effective solutions that deliver value to consumers and businesses. Thiel also discusses the scalability problem in green tech. Many environmentally friendly technologies are expensive to develop and difficult to scale, which limits their potential impact. For green tech to become widespread, it must not only be sustainable, but also affordable and scalable. Thiel encourages entrepreneurs to focus on creating technologies that can reach a large market and drive significant change, rather than niche products that only appeal to a small segment of environmentally conscious consumers. He uses Tesla as an example of a company that has successfully navigated the green tech space by offering a product, electric cars, that appeals not only to environmentally minded consumers, but also to those seeking high-performance vehicles. Tesla's success, Thiel argues, lies in its ability to combine environmental benefits with economic value. Tesla cars are not just green, they are also fast, stylish, and innovative, which makes them attractive to a wide range of consumers. Thiel also emphasizes the importance of innovation in the green tech space. He argues that many green tech companies are too focused on incremental improvements rather than seeking disruptive innovations that can transform entire industries. To succeed, green tech entrepreneurs need to think big and aim for breakthroughs that can have a global impact. The chapter concludes with Thiel urging green tech entrepreneurs to focus on solving real problems and offering products that provide value to both the environment and the economy. He believes that green technology has the potential to be a major force for good. Chapter 14. The Founder's Paradox. In the final chapter, Thiel explores the paradox of the founder, the unique and often contradictory nature of the individuals who start and lead successful companies. Founders are often seen as both visionaries and misfits, geniuses and eccentrics. These characteristics make them capable of creating something truly innovative, but they also come with challenges that can make leadership difficult. Thiel begins by acknowledging that founders are often unconventional thinkers who don't fit neatly into traditional molds of leadership. They tend to be bold, stubborn, and willing to break rules in order to pursue their vision. These traits are essential for building a company that goes from 0 to 1, but they can also lead to conflict, isolation, and burnout. The paradox of the founder, Thiel explains, is that the very qualities that make founders great can also be their undoing. For example, a founder's boldness and willingness to take risks can lead to success, but it can also result in reckless decisions that jeopardize the company. Similarly, a founder's intense focus on their vision can drive innovation, but it can also cause them to ignore important feedback or alienate their team. Thiel argues that founders must learn to balance these contradictions in order to succeed. They need to be bold but not reckless, visionary but open to feedback, and stubborn but willing to adapt when necessary. This requires a high level of self-awareness and emotional intelligence, as well as the ability to surround themselves with people who can complement their strengths and weaknesses. The chapter also touches on the loneliness of leadership. Founders often feel isolated because they are the ones responsible for making the final decisions and carrying the weight of the company's success or failure. Thiel encourages founders to build a strong support network, both within the company and outside of it, to help them navigate the challenges of leadership. Thiel concludes the book by reaffirming the importance of founders in shaping the future. Despite the challenges they face, founders are the driving force behind the most innovative companies and ideas. They are the ones who take the leap from 0 to 1, creating something entirely new and valuable. Thiel urges founders to embrace their unique qualities and use them to create a better future. Conclusion: stagnation or singularity? Thiel leaves readers with a stark choice: stagnation or singularity. We can either continue down the path of incremental improvements and competition, or we can strive for groundbreaking innovations that fundamentally change the world. The future belongs to those who dare to think differently and create something new. Thiel challenges entrepreneurs, investors, and thinkers to look for opportunities that others have missed, to discover secrets that can unlock new possibilities, and to build companies that go from 0 to 1, from nothing to something extraordinary. The future, Thiel argues, is waiting for those who are willing to take bold steps and push the boundaries of what's possible. Call to action. As you reflect on the lessons from 0 to 1, consider how you can apply Thiel's principles to your own journey. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a leader, or someone looking to make a difference. Think boldly, look for secrets, aim for monopoly, and most importantly, strive to create something that goes from 0 to 1. The future is not a lottery. It's shaped by those who dare to innovate and think differently. Take the leap and be a part of building the future.